Hello everyone, welcome to a new video. I've been wanting to do a Fatal Fury City of the Wolves tutorial for a while now. And so one approach I want to do is the live demonstration format. The way I'm going to do it is I'm going to do each trial for each of the exercises and then go to training mode just to explain each of these mechanics a little more. To move, obviously, you move with forward, you move with back. You can forward dash, you can back dash. By the way, forward dashing doesn't have to be double tap forward. Forward and the ref button, which is R1 on PlayStation, RB on Xbox, R on Nintendo, allows you to dash and back dash. Crouch, hold down, and you have access to crouch normals, and while crouching, high attacks as opposed to overhead attacks will whiff. And then finally jump. And there are different types of jumps, but we'll get to that later. In regards to run, there are three types of running. Run dash allows you to run towards the opponent. Unlike the other types of dash, run dashing is very good in chasing a knockdown. So when the opponent attack rolls, I'm able to run forward and then auto correct by holding run the other way, which is very good. The other dash types cannot do this. And then the other dash type is step dash. So instead of running, you step forward like a Street Fighter type forward dash. These ones aren't as good in chasing knockdowns as a run dash. If the opponent tech rolls the other way, you have to wait until the end of the dash animation, or if you cancel it into the button animation before you can dash again. It's a lot slower. That said, using the ref button to dash forward and cancel it into crouching ref guard into another ref dash forward into another ref guard allows you to cancel some of your dash frames into crouch so you can dash again. A wave dash, if you will. Sometimes a wave dash is really important for combos, but that's not something every character has access to because there's a run dash and a step dash, but within the step dash there's cancelable step dashes and committal step dashes. A cancelable step dash, like Kine, on day one was able to cancel some of this dash frames into a button or a crouch rep, whereas a committal step dash character could not cancel a dash into either types. In the Season 2 update, characters with a committal dash are able to cancel them into buttons, but not a crouch rev, meaning they still cannot wave dash. Although I personally believe that Ken from Street Fighter doesn't need it. And his dash is pretty good, all things considered. The run dash, cancel step dash, and committal step dash characters are on screen. Next up, your attack buttons. A given character has access to 16 buttons at once, typically. You have your far away buttons, your crouching buttons, your jumping buttons, and your proximity buttons. And from those, you have light punch, heavy punch, light kick, heavy kick, far, close, crouch, jump, light punch, light kick, heavy punch, heavy kick. 16 buttons in total, not including character-specific abilities like a command overhead. Now this one is not so common, but some characters will have a different set of normals, whether or not they're doing a diagonal jump or a neutral jump. So this is neutral jump light punch, hits above rock, good air to air. And then diagonal jump light punch hits the opponent on the way down. The jump light kick, for the majority of the cast, is a good cross up button. cross up meaning that you hit them on the other side. So Terry is on the left side. That means they have to hold left to block. But as soon as you cross them up, they have to block the other direction. More info on that later. One last thing is certain standing heavies may be considered a high, also known as a mid that can be ducked. Whereas a crouching mid cannot be ducked. Then you have lows, which can only be blocked low. And then jump attacks or overheads, which have to be blocked high. If you low block a jump attack, you'll get hit. If you stand blocked a low attack, you'll get hit.
Get ready, fight!
This is a standing mid. Standing mids can be, because it's a mid, it can be blocked high or low, but some standing mids can be ducked while crouching. Blocking these low is generally a good idea. There are exceptions where a mid's attack advantage is better on crouch block than stand block, so you have to stand block them the moment they're performed. But generally, it's always 99% of attacks in the game, it's better to just preemptively block low and then react high.
Get ready, fight!
If your opponent is using a standing guard, you can catch him wide open with a low. When they're blocking low, they're open to jump attacks.
Complete. Get ready, fight!
The opponent not only has to stand block jump attacks and crouch block low attacks, they also have to watch out for throws, which beats all forms of blocking.
Complete.
You have a forward throw, which can be done neutral, and a back throw, which have to be held back. The difference between forward and back throw is for positioning. This game has meterless invincible special moves. So sometimes when the opponent is trying to do like high, low, or throw mix, the invincible special move beats those, but it loses to block. So if the opponent blocks that, you're in big trouble. But that means the opponent will just walk up and crouch block in order to like beat invincible special moves, and that gives you the opportunity to throw them in the corner using back throw.
Complete.
So now they're cornered.
Get ready, fight!
Now there is a way to beat throw other than invincible special moves, and that is throw tagging. At the very moment the opponent tries to throw you, you press the throw button to cancel the throw altogether. Throw at the right time to cancel the throw and create a gap between you and your opponent. There are also other ways to beat throw. If someone's about to run up to you and throw, you can check their approaches with a button. Jumps and jump squatting is invincible to throws on frame 1 of bending your knees to jump. And backdashing is a back hop, and back hops are airborne. There are 2 types of wake-ups in this game. They say 4 different types of wake-up rules, but it's 5 wake-ups in general. There's the neutral get-up, and the wake-up roll, which we are about to do. Neutral get-ups, you're stuck on the ground for a longer period of time, giving the opponent ample time to prepare whatever oki they want to do. The moment you get up and are able to receive an enemy attack, on top of the get up invincibility, you are also invincible to throws for 5 frames. That means on the first frame you're able to receive an attack, you cannot receive a throw. If an opponent tries to delay a throw in which they grab you on frame 6, the first frame in which you can throw them, You can throw out a light attack, typically frame 5 or 4, to interrupt their throw animation. And then you have wake up rules. You can roll 4 different distances: forward light punch, back light punch, forward heavy punch, back heavy punch. The knockdown is shorter and you go somewhere else on screen. Step dash characters can't really keep up with you. You do not have that throw invincibility from before. You only have 1 frame. So if a run dash character can keep up with you, get ready to guess strike or throw.
Get ready, fight!
I have a forward roll. I have a heavy forward roll. And a heavy back roll.
Complete!
Like Terry says at the top of the screen, you cannot tech roll after a standard throw, a ref blow, or a super. Previously, you could not tech roll after an EX move, but this was removed in Season 2.
Get ready, fight!
Combination attack, a universal target combo that every character in the game has. Usually going from light punch, heavy punch, heavy punch, heavy kick.
Complete!
Really simple combo, really easy to do, but in my opinion, not really useful outside of very specific situations. But when you're close to the opponent and you're able to get a jab, typically you want to get something a lot more rewarding. Something that does a lot more damage.
Get ready, fight!
Next up, special moves. Special moves are inputted in 2 ways. On Smart Style, you have a dedicated SP button, but on Arcade, you have to input the motion. Quarter circle forward punch for Rock is Rapukin, and Rising Tackle is Z plus punch. For beginners, this is a very tricky input.
Rising attack! Rising attack!
You have to press forward, then down, then diagonal down forward. Input leniency of recent titles allows you to just press forward, down, forward instead of down, forward. Every character has a unique set of specials and supers that make those characters who they are. For instance, a bunch of characters have their own fireballs, but not all fireballs are used the exact same way. Rock can use his for zoning kinda, but not really can. His fireball's a lot more laggier, it's a lot more worse. But what he can use it for is throw out his fireball, see it connect to unblock, and then cancel the EX fireball's recovery into his forward dash.
Get ready, fight!
Let's talk about cancels. In order to cancel a button into a special move, you have to throw out the attack, see if it lands on hidden block, and then on the impact frame, input your next special move. There may be instances of being able to cancel moves on whiff, but generally you want to connect these moves on hidden block before doing anything.
Complete! Get ready, fight!
Special moves have a light version with the light punch or kick button, and a heavy version with the heavy punch or heavy kick version. However, if you press punch and kick at the exact same time, if you don't have the dexterity for it, the default controls for Fatal Fury City of the Wolves on controller has a double macro available to you. So if you press either both punch buttons or that macro when performing a special move input, allows you to get an EX or Rev special move. These are a lot stronger, they have bonus properties, they have something called Rev Axle, which I'll get into later, but the downside is they cost meter to do, and if you're not careful, you can put yourself in overheat. For a limited time, you cannot do anything that costs the rev meter, as well as other really bad debuffs that we'll get into later. Now for supers. Unlike the curving meter for EX special moves, the star meter, the star lines at the bottom, dictates your ability to use supers. Each character has 5 in total. Level 1 versions with light, level 2 versions on heavy, and then a secret super we'll get into later. Rock's punch super is Raging Storm, and Kick super is Shining Knuckle. Raging Storm is a vertical explosion that's invincible and does good damage. And Shining Knuckle has very good corner carry. It's a good way to put your opponent in a really bad spot. However, if the opponent's already in the corner, you might as well just use Raging Storm no matter what. Typically, supers have horrible block advantage and horrible whiff recovery if you miss, but they do a lot of damage when they do connect.
Get ready. Fight.
Now for your level 2 supers. Unlike level 1 supers, level 2s consume 2 star gauges instead of 1. And for putting in twice the amount of work, level 2 supers typically don't give you twice the amount of value. See, when you're landing a super, it's not just the damage that's important, although it does a lot of damage. There are also the hard knockdown, the opponent cannot tech roll after receiving this move on hit. When you're put in a really bad spot like overheat, invincible moves are a good way to get you out of that bad spot. And so being able to do 2 level 1s is better than being able to perform 1 level 2. It's very rare where a level 2 will come in handy more so than a level 1 super.
Get ready. Fight. RPG complete.
Gato Mark of the Wolf has a system called Top Attack, and in City of the Wolf it's called SPG. A variety of buffs will activate if you enter the very specific health threshold. Abilities include between SPG damage reduction, decreasing the cost of rev meter actions, the ability to perform rev blows, a really good combo ending option with an asterisk. That's a hard knockdown, meaning your opponent cannot attack roll, and then a hidden super, which we'll get into later. Because it only occupies a small space on the health bar, you gain these buffs when you enter it, and you lose these buffs when you leave it. If you select middle or end SPG, it's possible for the opponent to play around your need for SPG by doing more damage in a combo than the space the SPG occupies, preventing you from having access at all. Time for hidden supers.
Get ready. Fight.
The reason why they're called hidden gears is because the input was initially going to be a mystery. Each character would have a mystery input and you had to figure it out. Rock was going to be quarter circle back, half circle forward, which is Terry's classic input for Power Geyser. However, Jeff Summer Game Fest 2024, it was revealed that all characters would have double forward rev as the input forward. But before we get to the Power Geyser input, let's talk about the 5th button, rev. SNK games, for the vast majority of them, typically have 4 buttons. Sometimes it's punch, kick, heavy, lane change, or light punch, light kick, heavy kick, and that's all you got. But in this game, they introduced a 5th button, rev, which allows you to access extra input commands, such as dodge attacks, feints, and in the case of Gato and Hotaru, character exclusive commands, being able to turn around by pressing the rev button in the air to give yourself like Mortal Kombat cross-ups. And as you can see, you need the rev button to perform hidden supers. So on arcade, it's down forward rev, and on smart, it's EX plus rev, meaning punch plus SP plus Rev.
Complete.
Rev supers or hidden supers are also the reason why level 2 supers are not that good. You're not only competing for being able to do 2 level 1s, but you're also competing with hidden super. Although hidden super has one weakness that the other super types don't have, is that you need to be in SPG range to pull it off. Meaning if you're not glowing yellow like so, it's completely inaccessible. But if you're in SPG range, there is one type of value not found anywhere. Exhaust meter or ref meter will be completely reset to 0, which not only allows you to do more ref stuff, but allows you to completely exit overheat. So I'm at 91. Really powerful way to use 2 meters.
Get ready. Fight.
Dodge attacks. Now we're starting to get into the advanced techniques of the game. So dodge attacks are attacks that will dodge all attacks of a specific property. When crouching, Ref plus Heavy Punch will allow you to dodge all moves that are standing mids, jump attacks, and overheads. Dodging the appropriate attack will give you a slowdown. Low dodge attacks will make you jump before doing an overhead attack. This one will dodge lows and sweeps and throws. It's an overhead, meaning people blocking low will get hit by this move. However, because it's an overhead, it loses to the dodge attack specifically designed to beat overheads. For the purpose of this video, let me demonstrate it beating throws. Generally, the win condition in Fatal Fury City of the Wolves is to, number 1, depleting your opponent's health to 0.
Get ready. Fight.
You can do this by landing attacks until their health reaches 0, or if they're blocking, perform special moves and super moves on block.
4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Complete.
However, if you're unable to KO them before timer runs out, there's another win condition. If you have more health than they do when timer reaches 0, you win. It is a valid strategy even in the single player bosses mode, like fighting the final boss of an arcade era fighting game's arcade mode, to camp the boss until the timer reaches 0 and have more health than they do. Now for new techniques in Fatal Fury City of the Wolves. This section will be like the advanced stuff in God of Mark of the Wolves, as well as new techniques introduced in Fatal Fury City of the Wolves, sometimes inspired by Street Fighter. Fatal Fury has had a history of like chasing after Street Fighter Shadow, kinda. The dev team of Street Fighter 1 was poached by SNK to make the series after all. So Fatal Fury 1 was a remake of Street Fighter 1. Street Fighter 2 unapologetically copied the fuck out of Street Fighter 2. Fatal Fury Special expanded the roster by making the final bosses playable. And God of Mark of the Wolf had a 10-year time skip after Real Bout Fatal Fury. So it's no surprise that the ref meter filling up when you perform special moves, the overheat state, ref blows, and ref guard are all inspired by stuff that you see in Street Fighter 6. Though the presence of these mechanics, how different they are from Street Fighter 6, and the presence of techniques from Garo Mark of the Wolves should make this fighting game unique enough, in my opinion. So Ref Low, this is your not drive impact.
Get ready. Fight SPG.
So you have an armored attack that costs meter, and you have to be within SPG health range. If you're not within SPG health range, you cannot do it. It's an armored attack that the vast majority of the time it's safe on block. There are some conditions where using it is not safe, generally, like certain types of air SPGs. But the majority of the time they're safe on block. On hit, this produces a hard knockdown. And of course, just like in Street Fighter 6, you can counter them. You are in counter hit recovery at the end of the technique. So if you get whiff punished, block punished somehow, depending on the circumstance, or if you get countered ref blowed, counter drive impact, the opponent can start a nasty combo. This loses to anti-air dodge attacks too. And if you're within SPG health range, one of the very few good things about combination attacks is that you can end it with ref blow to get a hard knockdown. And they cannot tack roll it. Rev Axle, a really game-defining technique that allows you to cancel EX specials into EX specials into EX specials.
Get ready. Fight.
EX moves are very expensive in this game. So because of that, you would want to conserve your meter wisely. While simply spamming the fuck out of EX moves is very expensive, what's not expensive is a Rev Axle. Because going from one EX move to another decreases the cost of the EX move. The rule is 25%, then 15, then 12.5, then 12.5, then 12.5, then 12.5. If you're within the appropriate SPG health range, the cost gets decreased a little bit. In middle SPG, instead of 1.0, it's 0.9 multiplier. So the 65% cost became a 58. Axle ratio in season 3, which is start of your health, it's 0.8, decreasing the multiplier further. The 0.8 depletes it further to 51. Now, I'd like to remind you, there are instances of rev axling resetting the cost, right? So certain moves have bonus properties that allow you to combo an EX move into more moves naturally. One of those properties is a ground bounce. So ground EX Tatsu for Ken causes a ground bounce. There are other moves like mid-air connect EX crack shoot for Terry and mid-air connect golden kick for Joe. So golden kick ground bounces, I was able to get mid-air connect golden kick after EX Buckets can't finish. The problem with this is, if you get the reset and then try to do another EX move again, the cost reset, it goes back to 25, 15, 12.5. So doing resets may be more expensive than just stringing a bunch of moves together. That slash kick missed, but imagine if it didn't miss. 4 EX moves was 65 on Ken. On Joe, it was 90. I was almost burnt out or overheated because of that. Because EX Bakurets can actually rev cancelled into Golden Kick. Then I got Golden Kick floor bounce into EXDP floor bounce into another slash kick, which was a 25% reset into a 25% reset again. So when you're chaining moves together, if you want to chain as many moves as possible, keep an eye out on the rev gauge and make sure to chain moves in a way that it's 3 consecutive rev axles. And then if you know you're going to kill, go for the most damaging route regardless of resets. Also, by the way, if you're within SPG range, you can rev axle EX special moves into rev blow. There's a ground rev blow and an air rev blow. Which leads me to my next point. Some moves will leave you in grounded state, and some moves will leave you in airborne state. So here's an example of a grounded state move. EX Ryugeki Ken. You know it's grounded state because I did the grounded rev blow animation, this one. But the airborne one is a dive kick. And you can tell if a special move leaves you airborne if the rev blow is the airborne version. So if you perform a grounded special that leaves you airborne, keep that in mind, because if you're airborne, you cannot do grounded special moves. In the case of Mr. Karate's Tatsu, you have to shadow dash it at the end, which is pressing the ref button when performing eligible special moves to do a shadow dash. Another example of a character-specific ability tied to the ref button. How you go from one special move to another depends on that character's list of special moves. So keep that in mind when like labbing characters like high damage combos and stuff. Next up is Just Defend. SNK fans were introduced to this mechanic in the Samurai Showdown series. However, it was brought over to Fatal Fury as SNK's answer to Street Fighter 3's parries.
Get ready, fight!
So the moment you're about to be hit with an attack, and a perfectly timed block will give you a Just Defend. It's not right at the moment of, it's a little bit beforehand. It's your only defensive mechanic in the air. If you observe Geese Howard's health bar on the right side, one of the benefits to a Just Defend is not frame advantage with an asterisk, but rather you heal a very tiny amount. If your name is Jay Wong, click off this video for the next 15 seconds. If you're able to consecutively Just Defend attacks, you can heal a lot from a multi-hit attack. You need to get the timing right on the first one, but during a successful Just Defend, if you're on the receiving end of a multi-hit attack, additional Just Defends are free to input very easily, so long as the opponent is not delaying the attack. If they do delay the attack, if there's a gap, you have to input the attack after the gap correctly as well. But uninterruptible multi-hit attacks, it's very easy to Just Defend follow-ups. Just like how it's possible to gain and lose the SPG health range by taking damage, it's possible that if you're below the health range, you can actually heal your way back up. Can healed enough to get back to axle ratio. But as you can imagine, it's also possible to heal past your health range, meaning that if you parry enough, you will lose access to your SPG range, your ref blows, and your hidden supers. But nothing wrong with healing too much, right? you have guard cancels. And finally, hyper defense. When in blocking position, you can perform a just defend by tapping forward. Block the first attack, then you can hyper defense the second attack by tapping forward instead of back.
Complete.
The benefits of hyper defense is the same as just defend. The only difference is you tap forward on the second attack after blocking the first, rather than tapping back on the first attack. You also cannot chain hyper defenses, but I think you can chain a hyper defense to a just defend. Once you get the hyper defense, I think like your options after that is the same. Now, as you saw, the tutorial has you guard cancel with a ref roll. That's the easiest guard cancel you can do in the game. But it's not the only one. There are other ways to guard cancel, but they're a little bit more tricky to do. Here's Ken getting a guard cancel with a Shoryuken. The input window to guard cancel a just defend into a special move is really small. Like, it's really difficult to do, which is why pro players employ tricks to do them. So for example, right, if you want to guard cancel into a fireball, for example, you would input down and forward, and the forward would be on a hyper defense, and you would get fireball. When trying to cancel into a core circle back move, you want to press down and then press back the moment you're about to just defend a move. And then once the just defend is confirmed, press the kick button. Due to how easy it is to do special moves, the ability to guard cancel is impossible to do on smart style. So you can just defend, but you cannot guard cancel. And last but not least, frame 0. Alongside needing ref meter to guard cancel, if you also spend super bar to do a super after a just defend, you also perform a frame 0 super. There's going to be some situations where performing an invincible attack or some kind of special is too slow to punish even on just defend guard cancel. But the frame 0 allows you to get a super out instantly. Frame 0 supers are extremely powerful, which is why the execution is like extra tough. Next up is overheat. This is a really bad state you don't want to be in.
Get ready. Fight.
So if your rev meter exceeds 100%, you'll be in overheat, and that means you cannot do a lot of actions. During this state, your guard meter becomes active, and that means your opponent can try to guard crush you, open your guard, and then start a combo from there. One of the benefits of like just defending in standard state is your rev meter going down, which should help with rev meter management. And in general, running towards the opponent and attacking in both standard state and overheat state should help with meter depletion a little bit, alongside the passive depletion. So you cannot do EX special moves, you cannot perform your universal tools, you cannot perform a guard cancel, and your opponent can open you up with guard crush and start a combo for free. I said that the opponent can get their opportunity, can get a free opening. When they get that free opening, they have to take it. Because if they don't, not only does their guard gauge regenerate, the opponent is instantly on cooldown, meaning the ref gauge is at 0 instantly, on top of the guard gauge resetting. So if they don't take that opportunity of a free combo, they put themselves in a bad spot. Alongside these debuffs, additional debuffs was introduced into the game in subsequent patches. Between the open beta with 8 characters to season 1, you can no longer guard cancel.
何を待ってる？何？
So the CPU is set to just defend, but the moment during overheat, the just defend is corrected to block. So they cannot just defend, they cannot hyper defense. At the start of season 2, you can also no longer perform meterless invincible specials. If Ken does a Shoryuken, it has the invincible notification on his side of the screen. The Shoryuken's invincibility was changed from everything to anti-air attacks. You are no longer full body invincible, meaning you have to rely on other tools to protect yourself. Supers retain their full body invincibility. The downside is you're spending meter. While full body meterless invincible moves are gone, partially invincible moves are not. Strike attack parries retain all of their functionality. So crack counter, Mr. Big's stance, armored moves that lose to grabs like Joe Higashi all work as normal. Another mechanic is Ref Guard. You protect yourself with it by holding the ref button. SNK's answer to Street Fighter's drive parry is basically faultless defense from Guilty Gear. You are able to negate chip damage. That said, normally blocking not only deals rev damage to you, but also does chip damage. Negating chip damage has the downside of like all blocked attacks doing extra ref damage. So you're converting all of the chip damage into extra ref damage.
Get ready, fight! Complete.
Ref guarding increases the distance between you and your opponent. By simply being able to block attacks by holding ref guard, you are able to negate cross-ups, but you're not able to negate high-low mix. So if you ref guard high, you get opened up by lows. Now for the advanced movements. So you can run, you can jump, but there's also dash jumps and there's hops.
Get ready, fight!
So if you jump normally, your character's head is able to go past the screen. But if you tap, lightly tap, or simply jump by holding the ref button to auto jump, you're able to perform slower jumps, perform faster jump attacks. Two downsides to hopping. Number one, you cannot cross up the opponent, so you cannot do like deceptively fast jumping cross up attacks. Even if you knock them down and try to hop over them that way, the game still finds a way to keep you on the same side. The other downside to hopping is you cannot just defend. So if you hop, you are completely defenseless. It's like an all offense, no defense type of jump that you're performing. In earlier versions of the game, the double jumping Hokutomaru can double jump from hop, and the double jump can just defend in the air, which made him like defensively powerful compared to the rest of the cast. But they took that out in the patch. Next up, dash jumps. Gives you extra boost when jumping. In total, the 3 jumps have distinct sound effects. There's a sound effect of a hop. There's a sound effect of a standard jump. And the sound effect of a dash jump.
Complete.
Next up, special attack buffer.
Get ready, fight!
The game has a very long buffer window. For your main attack buttons, light punch, heavy punch, light kick, heavy kick, the game has a very long buffer window. Absurdly long. There is very little effort needing to buffer these moves, since the hold buffer is very long. Yeah, the game can memorize the input for very long. Even supers. One thing that you cannot buffer are feints. Some characters can cancel a sequence of attacks into a feint into more attacks. You cannot. Most of them are done with rev and heavy kick into a specific direction. Rev button based actions cannot be buffered, so you have to time it with the cancel window of your attack.
Get ready.
It's time to talk about feints. A feint is an action where you perform the startup of one of your special moves. You don't actually follow through with it. The amount of feints a character has depends on the character themselves. So SNK gave Rock 3 feints: Hard Edge, Rising Tackle, and Rapuken. However, the DLC character Ken only has 1, and it's Hadoken. Feints are good for neutral, like trying to catch the opponent off guard doing a particular type of action. But when it comes to combos, there's generally only one feint that's good for combos. In the case of Rock, it's forward feint to do fake Rapuken and then cancel into another move. For Blue Mary, it's spot dodge, and her spot dodge is her best like frame data feint for combos. And so what happened is she has a move where she has to be holding back then tap forward, also known as a charge move, but before that she has to press forward and feint. It was used in an official combo trial and it gave some people a lot of difficulties. The combo trial can be seen in the description, as well as the guide to how to clear Advance 4. Now breaks, attacks with multiple parts, you can cancel them halfway. So here's Rage Run. At a specific range, it will always connect with the opponent and do the 1-2. However, if you press Rev or Light Punch, Light Kick within the break window, the attack will never come out. Break Rage Run can be used to surprise people in neutral and go for a throw, for example. Anti-air attacks, DPs, can break on the heavy version, uniquely. The light version is invincible, but offers no offense or combos whatsoever. And the heavy version is not invincible, sometimes nothing, sometimes anti-air attack. But if you break it right before the character jumps up, it becomes a launcher that you can use in combos. Some combos even rely on breaking to tie things together, you know. Mr. Big will demonstrate you that just like feints, you cannot preemptively like hold buffer breaks in this game. One reason why is a move could have multiple breakpoints. For example, Mr. Big's uppercut, California Romance, it has 2 different breakpoints: the run itself and the uppercut itself. That's all the techniques in the game, but now here are 2 more mechanics: counter and wild punish. Counter hit, you get a little bit of a frame data bonus when you attack the opponent during their startup. Some moves, like Rev Blow or an invincible special, have counter hit recovery, meaning that instead of the startup, all of the bonuses of counter hit applies at the end of their moves, before they're able to block. Light attacks typically do not go into EX special moves. An exception was made thanks to counter hit light into EX hard edge. One bonus to counter hits is you can moon launch the opponent using specific special moves. In Mark of the Wolves, all of the specials can, including fireballs. However, they limited that in City of the Wolves. Typically, if you hit someone in a combo using a particular move, you cannot use that move again. However, there's an exception made for moon launch counter hit moves You can use one instance of a particular special move and one counter hit moon launch instance of that exact same special move in a combo. And last but not least, Wild Punish, SNK's answer to Street Fighter's Punish counter. Now in Street Fighter, Punish counter only occurs when you're hitting someone during the recovery. But Wild Punish is something else entirely. It's Whiff Punish. That means if someone performs a multi-hit attack of 29 hits, and all 29 hits whiff, your punish is going to be a Wild Punish or a Whiff Punish. However, if 28 hits whiff and 1 hit is blocked, you get a regular punish. Make sure the move you're punishing does not make contact with you.
Get ready, fight!
The frame advantage bonus from a Wild Punish is massive, allowing you to feint cancel a cancelable button and then go in to get an extra confirm. Foes hit by Wild Punish take more damage and get staggered for much longer, giving you a golden opportunity. This also lets you link up moves that usually can't be, so try to experiment a bit. And that is the tutorial for the basic combat systems of Fatal Fury City of the Wolves. If you're not going to play the bonus modes, you might as well just hop off the video. For the rest of this video, I will tackle the extra bonus modes. Introduced in the game's launch are lane battles, something that's present in pretty much every Fatal Fury game except Garo Mark of the Wolves.
Get ready, fight!
You can jump into the other lane using punch and rev. While on the opposite lane, you have multiple options. You can sway shift again. You can do a light punch. Heavy punch allows you to bring someone to your lane, and then the kick button allows you to go to the other lane while performing a jump attack. In addition, rev and light kick kicks them to the other lane. Lane battles also give your combination attack a little bit more value. So remember this move? And it's cancelable into rev blow after. Instead of the final heavy kick, you can do rev light kick and then mash light kick to do a lane blowback into lane jump. And it's a launcher that you can combo from. One obvious use of lane changing is being able to dodge attacks focused on one lane. Projectiles, for example. Wolfgang Krauser's Kaiser Wave is a scary projectile in neutral because it's too tall to jump over, alongside being able to have different speeds. It's even scarier when he charges it from full screen, and the charged versions are impossible to just defend. And the final tutorial is the update added in 2.0, the Wolfgang Krauser update, Ring Out Battles. On both sides of the screen, there are walls, and if you're able to break the wall, any knockdowns near those broken walls will lead to an instant KO. Wall damage carries over between rounds. There's the wall door, and then there's the top of the subway train. If you're able to perform a high knockback, you can place characters on top of the trains, which leads to an instant KO. As Terry says here, when the wall is open, you cannot backdash. You can block and back block just fine, but if you backdash,
Krauser wins.
if you wish to play the bonus modes, you have to select the stages that support them. So the majority of the stages do not support them, unfortunately. Second, South Central is where you'll perform ring out battles. Dream Amusement Park Morning is where you'll perform the lane battles. So make sure to select those specifically if you want to play these bonus modes. The other stages are only for the basic modes. And that's it for the tutorial of Fatal Fury City of the Wolves. Thank you guys for watching. If you like it, leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a nice day.